Fuck you!
Assholes, fucking reject motherfuckers. Subscribe, fucking that fucking like button.
Hi there, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba.
I'm John Humphrey.
We're gonna watch the trailer for Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell. John is a huge Rob Zombie fan. I've seen
right.
most of his movies. The only one I miss is Lords of Salem. And The Real Rejects title was inspired by The Devil's Rejects.
It really shows in our work.
A film I watched with my mother in the theaters. It's the right movie to watch with your family, any teenagers or little kids who are watching. Listen, before we go into this, I want to give another thank you to the folks over at Dark Web for allowing me to host their Comic-Con panel. Just got back this weekend. Yeah, the show's actually really good. I've seen the whole thing. This is really good. Seriously, go watch it. It's an 8-episode series, Amazon exclusive, has a pretty good amount of well-known people in there. It's like a serialized anthology tale. I feel like I could call it Tales from the Dark Web in a way. I was a little worried it wouldn't be good, but it was good. Anyway,
Well
let's
done,
watch
you guys.
this. I know not everyone's gonna watch our reaction for this. I know Lionsgate doesn't usually let people monetize their stuff, and it probably has a yellow dollar bill sign. But Devil's Rejects means something to John and I.
The search for the fugitives known as the Devil's Rejects resulted in a violent clash with police. Chances for survival are less than 1,000,000 to 1.
I bet.
There's no justice in this world. I am justice.
They're trying to blame us, but we didn't do it!
Free the three!
Free the three! Free the three!
Free the 3.
Yeah.
Now we can have a real Day of the Dead.
Any last words?
I still look pretty.
I'm just a clown dancing for the sins of mankind.
What the hell?
I know.
This is my death factory.
Oh my god.
I love it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Hello, America. Did you miss me?
Daddy Tramp, man.
Three from Hell.
That's a Rob Zombie trailer right there.
Oh, 1,000%.
I wonder if he cut that himself.
I'm fascinated by this movie because I remembered hearing talks about Devil's Rejects, and he was like kind of anti-sequel. And he was saying like he really wanted to end it, you know, not just keep setting up for franchises. I don't remember exactly what he said. It was a long time ago when Devil's Rejects came out. And I know filmmakers, like any artists, are susceptible to changing their mind. Like, oh, you know what? I actually have a sequel in mind. Even though I was saying, no, I want to end it right here. People can be pussies about ending their movies.
Yeah.
And then he comes out with 3 from Hell. So I'm wondering what this is really gonna all be. It's kind of ridiculous that they survived that shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, you're throwing in the dialogue of like 1,000,001 and everything, but I feel like they would have.
Satanic revival or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm fascinated into seeing what realm this goes into because House of a Thousand Corpses was the first one, which had a much more campy tone to it. And I thought that what he did with Devil's Rejects, I still find to be personally my favorite film of his. I remember being surprised when even Ebert and Roper were like, 2 thumbs up. This is actually really good.
Yeah.
You know, I liked having a bit of that more realistic handheld touch, and this just seems very much Rob Zombie unleashed. Feels more grungy, more grindhouse than ever. Super duper in your face. I'm more drawn to the parts in this trailer when they're being interviewed. This whole idea of this family has always sort of been a bit of a commentary on like the Manson family in a way, or inspired from to a certain degree. Watching that like archive news footage, is that just gonna be a montage, or is that gonna be like a whole act or half of the movie? Because that was the part of this that seemed the most intriguing to me, seeing how the people are responding to them and how some of the people are like, free the 3, I think is an interesting concept to go down. People are supporting and rooting for them and liking them and their personalities. But House of a Thousand Corpses had that cult feel with the family, and then here it seems like they are developing a kind of following. So maybe it is bringing it full circle. That was the part that was the most fascinating to me.
Yeah, and I mean, since this movie picked up steam, the advertising, especially like the early stuff that Rob Zombie's been leaking out, was mostly in that prison setting. I mean, he started putting out the Free the 3 slogan and the images of them doing the mugshots,
Right.
ages ago. So I feel like he's been teasing that aspect of the movie a whole lot. And if I know anything about Rob Zombie, I know him to be pretty pragmatic about things. When it comes to this, and I've heard him say in interviews multiple times over the years when talking about his other projects he wants to make, he said basically, if I wanted to make Devil's Rejects 3, I could do that in a heartbeat. And I've got all these other ideas I want to work on. And so he's had Tyrannosaurus Rex, which was supposed to happen that didn't happen. He had his Groucho Marx movie that was supposed to be his big foray out of horror, which thus far has not materialized. Not to mention his Broad Street Bullies film about the Philadelphia Flyers. So part of me wonders if maybe this was a sort of like, well, I want to make a movie, and if this is the movie I can make, then I'll come up with some...
Fuck you guys!
Yeah, exactly. Something else I know about Rob Zombie, he usually rises to an occasion at the very least, even if you don't like it, even if you don't think it's particularly good. So I'm curious to see what he does with this. I'm glad he's not ignoring the fact that they were in a devastating shootout at the end of the last movie.
Yeah.
So at least I'm very curious to see how he builds his way out of that one. And the nice thing about this particular little mini franchise here is that part of the charm is that the first and the second movie are so different in tone and style from one another. And this trailer kind of gives me both. Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of thinking about 31 right now. House of a Thousand Corpses has a cult fanatic element in the kids who go searching out these different roadside oddities, and they go way too far by investigating the Firefly clan. In the second movie, you see what that obsession can be like from a position of direct effect and power or something like that. So yeah, I hope that this movie does touch on the fanaticism over serial killers that's especially gotten really huge these days, because you look back on these people talking about, I just watched an episode of Dark Trail where he was at some kind of Jeffrey Dahmer convention thing, and people really latch onto these figures and will kind of rationalize them and speak for their character in reference to their actions or in contrast from their actions. So I hope that this movie can take some of that.
Do you ever think it's like feigning interest though?
I don't know, and the
I
people
don't really care. I just
see
learned
it-
what the word feigning is today, so I just want to throw that in.
I don't think so. I'm going to say, if you're feigning interest in serial killers, you're going to be done feigning that interest in a very small amount of time. But it's cool. I mean, like, I like how his troupe keeps growing. Richard Brakes in here, who played Doomhead in 31, who everybody kind of agreed was the one agreeable part of that movie. Jeff Daniel Phillips, I think, always shines in Rob Zombie stuff. Just curious to see who else gets dragged into this. Oh yeah, he's back. I thought he died in the first one, but you know.
He's just like Robert Rodriguez is.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how many times you kill him off in the franchise, he's gonna come back.
Every movie.
He's gonna come back.
When it comes to Rob Zombie, there's a lot out there that tries to emulate the Grindhouse feel and that sensibility, and of all the people...
No, he lives it.
He lives it, and whether or not, for better or for worse, whether you like his movie or not, I feel like he authentically brings that kind of filmmaking to life, and so that seems to continue here to me.
Yeah, his films are very unsettling. And,
Yeah.
you know, they're all like loud Southern hit characters. They just are super in your face. In a weird way, they seem authentic from him. They don't feel forced.
They feel like forces of their own nature.
Yeah, and I think that's why Halloween 1 was a little weird. because
You're very much out of that context for at
he's
least
like,
the
he's
source
trying
material.
to splice it into that, but it didn't work as well. But here, I'm like, no, this is Rob Zombie Unleashed. And I like how, yeah, like you said, it is a hybrid of both the first and second one. Maybe he will go down some like borderline, satanic, supernatural thing, because they don't look injured at all. Their scars should be noticeable, or there should be some type of injury to them, because when you're cutting other parts in the trailer where they're in action and clearly out of prison, it's like they look like they never were in the craziest long Freebird shootout you've ever seen.
Yeah, and that's something too. I feel like because the first one is like Texas Chainsaw 2, it's just kind of like crazy hillbillies, and the second one's like a weird, messed up Western. A satanic, supernatural vibe could be a cool element to add in because it's just one step further. You know, because we've seen like ghouls and stuff in the first movie.
Weirdly, it's the only logical way I could see this
happen. And I feel like he may be going with that, with the satanic resurrection superimposition of those words.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have like Dr. Satan in the first one, like all the devil's rejects in the second one, which felt a lot more, I don't know about the right words, grounded, but I'll say that, grounded.
Not supernatural.
Yeah, I feel like it would fit. So maybe he'll do it.
And I'm glad to see Sid Haig is still kicking, because this actually came out on his birthday last week, but he's looking very frail now, so I'm hoping he's all right.
He'll be fine. You'll see.
Yeah, when
Send him a text.
When Hell Forever comes out, or Rejects for Life, or whatever the next one is, he'll be back.
All right, guys. Well, are you excited for 3 from Hell? This one was just for us. Not a single person requested it. We're here today. Well, you guys can subscribe to The Real Rejects, click that notification bell, and we'll definitely be watching this movie. We definitely will. We must complete the trilogy.
Got my
See you
tickets.
guys.